right, this is Najee, Black Art in America, online magazine.
Love it.
Here with Skip Hill, all the way out of Oklahoma.
Points and beyond.
Points and beyond. I remember I met the brother in Chicago a couple years back. I always enjoyed his work. He found us on the site, and Skip has got a one-man show at Avisca Gallery here in Marietta, Georgia. Skip, can you tell us a little bit about your work?
Well, I'd be happy to do that. First of all, I want to, give props to the site because I'm one of those that got in kind of early on it and feel very fortunate to have done so. So check out my member page at BAIA, and I'm happy to be there, man. It's good stuff. This work is kind of taps into my idea of all over graphic work. My early career was as a graphic designer and an illustrator, but I also love cartoons, so there is that kind of quality to the work, even though I'm pretty adept at figurative work. It just doesn't quite challenge me the way that doing this more expressive abstractions of the human body work. And with these, my jumping off place for this work was the idea of tattoos, but also branding and marking and identity of the black male in this great American culture that we live in, and so a lot of things are projected onto us as black men and as black people, and so I'm kind of making references to that. But I like this all over pattern. I really enjoy a lot. And then of course the boxer is symbolic of so many things, and I was just reading something about Joe Louis, and Maya Angelou talks about how writes a poem about when Joe Louis was up against the ropes in his fight against Max Baer, and how the whole race held their breath, feeling as though if he were knocked out, that it would be just another lynching, and it would be just as good as the lynching. So the black boxer is one of my motifs that I use quite a bit in my work. That might be just like a good still. And I also like the idea of blending high and low culture. I'm a student of art history, primarily, obviously, Western art history, but also Asian history as well. I like the idea of graffiti, like the aspect of graffiti as far as low culture, supposedly low culture. I like to incorporate that into the work as well. And so there's a lot of text, not that you necessarily need to understand every single word that's depicted in the work, but more than likely, my hope is that you will get a sense of just the all-over patterning that comes along with the work. And again, all around the world, there are certain projections that are put upon us. I use a lot of Asian references from my time that I spent living in Bangkok, Thailand, and traveling through Asia. I use a lot of French, a lot of German, and of course I speak Dutch. I had an opportunity to live in Holland as well, so there's also some Dutch words as well. And then as I'm starting to get more and more into Portuguese and learn that language, I like to incorporate that as well. In fact, one of my favorite words is cabrão, pardon the pronunciation, but bastard. Okay? And I often think of us as the beauty of the world and the bastards of the world. The kings of the world and the bastards of the world as well. So this one is called Le Boxeur for Duccio, the great proto-Renaissance painter. This piece is called King of the Rucker. For those in the know, if you're a street ball fan, you know about the rucker. It is Mecca for street ballers. And basically what I'm doing here is using the black male as a prince, a king of the court, king of his game, king of his domain. And anybody that can get on the court and play there certainly is bringing some game with them when they come to this piece. As you can see, I've collaged it. I've drawn it on top of a page from a found book, actually a biography of Pablo Picasso. And I like the juxtaposition of the two because Picasso was as we all well know, the preeminent artist of the 20th century. And just like these guys are artists, they also bring a certain swagger to their game. Picasso, to me, one of the things I like Picasso, certainly as I know more about him beyond the myth, is that the brother had a whole lot of swag, okay? He really did. So.
talk about it.
Well, once again, this obviously I love working with a female figure, and this series here is inspired just as much by the Spanish court painter Velázquez, and who painted the family of Prince Charles. So I like my European art history, and of course I like particular artists from art history. But I also like to kind of funkify it a little bit, okay? So I've taken this, what is from the classic Las Meninas series of paintings that he did of the princesses, the royal daughters. I've taken it and kind of combined, once again, when I talk about high and low culture, the juxtaposition of what is deemed high and what is deemed low culture, I like to pull together kind of like a gumbo. And here you'll see a lot of collage elements. I'm using different types of text, different types of language, and it's almost like put together like a patchwork quilt. But in this case, it's a dress, a beautiful ball gown of this girl who's sitting here in anticipation of what? I'm going to leave that to the viewer to examine. And I always feel as though with art, if you don't tell the whole story, you leave room for people to bring their own story to the painting when they look at it, and thereby they become more engaged with it and can make it their own. So it's interesting today here in Marietta and in the Atlanta area. I did something today. I went to a place today that took me back to my first experience in Atlanta. I just come back to the States from Europe, and after a time of struggle here, I found myself living on the streets, actually living in the Salvation Army shelter on Lucky Street downtown. And today, for the first time, I actually went back and drove through the place, and drove down that alley, and was reminded of just how far I've come in the time, my first visit to Atlanta, my first experience in Atlanta. So it's an incredible honor. It just kind of seems just right that this would be the place that I would have my first solo show in the area, in Atlanta. And God is good, man. It's an awesome trip. It's been an awesome trip. I've lived in any number of countries and come back to the States. Always focused on art, always believing in art. One of the messages I got from my father, who I didn't necessarily grow up with, and as I became an adult, we became very close. And one of the things that he always shared with me was, hey man, you tried to do everything else, be what you are, brother. Be an artist, man. And whatever sacrifices you have to go through to do that, you gotta be true to what you do. And in time, I found that to be the case. And so after years of struggle, after years of staying committed, years of sacrifice, never losing faith, wavering at times like we all have a tendency to do, but things are coming together, man. It's great. And of course, I couldn't do it by myself. I've been very blessed and very fortunate to have wonderful people around me. Most importantly, supporters and collectors, and also fellow artists have helped me and taught me a lot, shared things, and introduced me to people. And so it's been quite a journey. It's an exciting journey.